I always thought I knew the woods. Grew up in Boone, North Carolina, small-town Appalachian life. My dad was a park ranger for the Pisgah National Forest, and by the time I was 8, I could tell a sycamore from a beech just by the smell of the bark. Camping, hiking, even trapping small game, I was raised on it. So when I decided to do a solo hike along an old, less-maintained offshoot of the Appalachian Trail near Grandfather Mountain last October, I figured it would be the perfect mental detox from my job in Charlotte. Just me, my pack, and 3 days of silence. Turns out, silence isn't what I got. What I got was something else entirely, something that still clings to my dreams with pine sap fingers. The trailhead wasn't marked on any official maps anymore. My dad told me about it once. It was a cut-through that had been used back in the 70s before a few hikers went missing. Some people blamed bears, others blamed weather. The locals? They blamed whistlers, forest spirits that led you astray with voices that sounded like loved ones. Just old stories, right? Still, I had the GPS coordinates, a compass, and a printed topographical map. I wasn't worried. It was cold and dry that first morning. The kind of October chill that bites through your jacket zipper when you stop moving. By 4 p.m., I was already deeper than I expected to be, tree cover thick, terrain slick with moss. I set up camp near a dried creek bed and built a small fire. As the sky dimmed and the pines turned to silhouettes, I felt a strange stillness I couldn't quite name. No bugs, no owl calls, just wind brushing through the pine needles in slow waves. That's when I first heard it. A whisper, so faint I almost missed it. "Thomas," my name. I spun around, heart thudding. Nothing, just the trees and dark and crackling fire. No footsteps. No wind gust, no movement. I told myself it was just my head playing tricks on me. Maybe the wind caught a branch just right. Maybe my brain filled in the gaps. But something about the tone, low, almost familiar, clung to me like dew on a sleeping bag. I packed up fast the next morning. Maybe I didn't sleep as well as I thought. The deeper I hiked, the stranger things got. I saw no fresh tracks, human or animal. The trail was narrowing, overgrown, nearly invisible in places. I had to bushwhack with my hiking pole to stay on course. Around noon, I stopped to eat jerky and check my map. I was about 2 miles from a clearing marked as Old Logging Site. I figured that'd be a good place to set up camp. That's when I heard it again. "Thomas, wait." Clearer this time. A woman's voice. Soft, desperate. I froze. It wasn't coming from behind me. It was ahead, somewhere deeper in the trees. I called out, "Hello? You okay?" Thinking maybe another hiker got lost. No answer. I scanned the woods, heart hammering. Then I did something I regret. I left the trail. Just about 50 yards in the direction I thought the voice had come from. Nothing. Just endless pines and a heavy quiet. I waited. Listened. Silence. I made my way back to the trail. Except, I couldn't find it. I checked the compass, backtracked. Trees looked the same. The canopy above blocked GPS signal. My map? Useless without visual markers. I walked in wider circles, forcing myself to stay calm. Eventually, after maybe 45 minutes, I found the trail again. But I swear on everything I love, it wasn't where I'd left it. It was closer, as if it had moved. I didn't sleep well that night. Every branch snap made me flinch. Around 1:30 a.m., the whispering started again. "Come home, Thomas." This time, it sounded just like my mother. She's been dead for 6 years. I should have turned back, but I convinced myself I was overreacting. Maybe I was just spooked. Forest acoustics can be weird. I wanted to see the logging site, prove I could do this alone. By midday, I reached it, or what was left of it. Just a wide clearing with half-buried stumps and rusted chainsaws covered in ivy. There was a small shack near the edge. Collapsed, but partially intact. Curiosity got the better of me. I went in. Broken tools, a rotting cot, and carved into the inside of one wall in rough block letters. The pines remember names. Don't listen to them. Leave by the 3rd night. My stomach dropped. And then another whisper directly behind me. "Thomas, why did you leave me behind?" My blood turned to ice. It was Laura, my ex-fiancée. She died 2 years ago in a car crash. I never forgave myself for not being there. I turned, but the shack was empty. I sprinted back to my camp, didn't stop to look behind me. That night, I didn't even light a fire. I just sat in the dark, clutching my knife, watching shadows twitch at the edge of the tree line. They whispered my name all night. Dozens of them. Voices I recognized. People I'd lost. I woke up to find small rocks arranged in a perfect circle around my tent. There were no tracks, no disturbances, just pine needles and stones deliberately placed. I didn't bother packing. I grabbed my essentials and bolted. I followed the trail as best I could, but the trees were shifting, I'm not kidding. Distances fell off. Places I passed before looked different. Then I saw it. A ring of pines, tall, symmetrical, too perfect. At the center was a dark pit, maybe 10 feet wide, charred at the edges. I tried to walk around it, but no matter which direction I moved, I always came back to the same spot. The whispers grew louder, more urgent. Stay, Thomas. Stay here with us. I dropped to my knees, dizzy, disoriented. My ears rang. My nose bled. I could feel them watching me from between the trunks. One voice, stronger than the others, spoke inside my skull. The woods remember you. The woods keep what they know. I don't remember how I got out. I blacked out or passed out. I'm not sure. Next thing I knew, I was stumbling onto the main trail, face scratched, hands shaking. A pair of hikers found me and helped me down to the ranger station. I didn't tell them what happened. Who'd believe me? It's been 6 months. I can't go near forests now. Even city parks make me anxious. Sometimes late at night, I still hear the whispering, just behind the window, just past the tree line of my backyard. A week ago, I found small stones arranged in a circle under my bed. I live alone. 3rd floor apartment. The woods, they remember me. My name's Levi Grant, and I grew up in a little town called Holly Creek, way up in the mountains of West Virginia. The kind of place where people wave when they pass you on the road, where stories last longer than jobs. There was always one story that scared the hell out of us when we were kids, about a light down in Devil's Hollow. They said it showed up late at night, floating between the trees. Some said it was a ghost. Some said it was a trap. My grandpa used to tell me a preacher got killed down there 100 years ago, tied to a pine tree and cut open by an angry husband. Ever since then, that light would show up, drifting slow like it was looking for something, or someone. I never believed it. Not really. Not until the fall of 2006, when I was 17. That was the night my best friend Dawson called me, freaking out, saying the light was outside his house. Me and our other buddy Clay ran over. Dawson's trailer sat right near the woods, and sure enough, there it was, this glowing white ball just floating between the trees. No noise, no flickering, just a steady, soft light like a lantern with no fire. We grabbed our flashlights, Clay brought his dad's old rifle, and we headed into the woods. Dumb idea, I know, but we were teenagers. We thought we could handle anything. The light kept drifting deeper into the woods, always just far enough that we had to keep moving. It never sped up, just floated along like it wanted us to follow. After a while, we started hearing whispers. I couldn't tell what they were saying at first, just little sounds like someone talking behind a closed door. Then I heard my name. Levi. Clay froze and said, "Did you hear that?" I nodded. Then he said he heard his name too. It wasn't coming from behind us. It was ahead, near the light. The trees felt tighter, darker. We passed old tree trunks with deep scratches in them, like something clawed at the bark over and over. The deeper we went, the colder it got, and the quieter the forest became. No bugs, no wind, just that light leading us farther in. Eventually we came to a clearing. I'd never seen it before, and I'd been through those woods my whole life. There was a wooden cross stuck in the ground and a flat stone slab beside it, covered in moss. The light floated right above the slab and stopped moving. Dawson stepped forward, his eyes wide. I told him to stop, but he didn't even look back. He said, "It's warm, it feels nice." He reached out to touch it. The second his fingers touched the light, the ground shook, and a loud scream tore through the clearing. It didn't sound human. It sounded like 100 people screaming all at once. The light exploded like smoke, and something rose up from the ground behind the cross. It looked like a man, but too tall, too thin. No eyes, no nose, just a wide, stretched mouth that went from one side of its face to the other. Long arms, smoke curling off its body. It moved like it was gliding, not walking. Clay fired the rifle. Twice. The bullets went straight through it. Then it wrapped something, dark and shadowy, around Dawson and pulled him forward. He didn't fight. He didn't scream. He just looked at us and whispered something we couldn't hear. And then he was gone. The thing looked at us for a few seconds, then disappeared into the ground like smoke being sucked back into a hole. We were frozen. Couldn't talk. Couldn't move. Then we ran. Didn't stop until we were out of the woods and back at Dawson's trailer. I called my dad. He thought we were drunk or high. The cops searched the woods for days. No sign of Dawson. They found his flashlight halfway buried in the dirt. That was it. We went back a few weeks later with my uncle. The clearing? It was gone. Just more trees. No cross. No stone. Nothing. They called Dawson a runaway. Said maybe he left town. But I know better. Because 2 weeks ago, driving through Holly Creek, I stopped by the edge of those same woods. I looked out into the trees. And I saw it again. That same light. I'm Ethan Collins, and I'll never forget what happened to me and my older brother Jake when we went hunting in the mountains of eastern Kentucky. We were both raised around the woods. Our dad taught us how to shoot, how to camp, how to track deer before we could even drive. Jake was always the brave one, though. He didn't believe in any of the stories the old folks used to tell about the Redbone Trail. That trail had a reputation. People said strange things happened near it. Disappearing hikers. Old voices in the trees. One guy from a nearby town said he saw a man with no face walking up the trail at sundown. But Jake, he just laughed at all of it, said people were country superstitious. It was the second week of November when we decided to take a weekend trip out that way. Weather had just started to turn, and we figured we might get a buck or two before the season ended. We parked the truck near an old logging road and hiked about 3 miles in before we found a decent spot to set up camp. The forest was thick, quiet, almost too quiet. We didn't see any deer that first day. Not even tracks. That was strange. Jake joked maybe the deer were scared of us. I didn't laugh. That night, just before dark, it started to rain. Light at first, then heavy. We didn't want to sleep in soaked tents, so we went looking for shelter. That's when we found it. The cabin. It sat down in a little dip between two ridgelines, half hidden by brush and dead pine. Old. Real old. Made from logs that were turning gray with age. The roof was still holding somehow, and the door was hanging by one hinge. Jake grinned when he saw it. Perfect, he said. I wasn't so sure. It didn't feel right, but the rain was pouring by then, and I didn't feel like arguing. We stepped inside, set our gear down, and looked around. One room, dirt floor, broken table, fire pit made of rocks in the center, something scratched into the wall in the back corner. Jake lit a lantern and walked over to read it. Then he called me over. The words carved into the logs weren't deep, but they were clear. Don't stay past midnight. IT knows when you sleep. The floor remembers. I felt a chill crawl up my spine. Jake chuckled. Creepy. Somebody's got a sense of humor. I didn't laugh. I told him we should leave, maybe just go back to the truck and sleep there. He rolled his eyes. It's just an old hunting shack, Ethan. People carve weird stuff all the time. I knew he wasn't scared. He never was. So I shut my mouth and tried to settle in. We made a small fire in the pit and ate jerky and some canned beans. The storm outside was still going strong. Wind howled through the cracks in the logs, and every now and then something tapped on the roof. Could have been a branch. Could have been something else. We tried to sleep around 11:30. I kept looking at my watch. I remembered the carving. Don't stay past midnight. Jake laughed it off when I whispered about it. Said I was being soft. But when the watch hit 12:03, I woke up to a sound I still can't explain. A dragging sound, like something heavy being pulled across dirt. At first, I thought Jake was messing with me. I sat up and looked across the cabin. He was still in his sleeping bag, but his eyes were open, staring at the ceiling. I whispered his name. Jake! He didn't answer. That's when I noticed something was moving under the floor. The dirt under the fire pit was shifting. Slowly, something was pushing up from underneath. The fire had died down, but there was still enough glow to see the ground bulge. Then I saw fingers. Long, pale fingers pushing through the soil. Too many of them. 6, maybe 7 on one hand. They flexed like they were reaching for something. The dragging sound came again, from inside the walls this time. Jake still wasn't moving. I grabbed my flashlight and shined it toward him. His eyes were wide, and his mouth was open, but no sound was coming out. He looked frozen. Stuck. I jumped up and grabbed him by the arm. Jake, get up. Something's here. He blinked. Once. Then his body started to twitch like he was fighting something I couldn't see. His back arched. His eyes rolled back. The flashlight flickered and went out. The floor split open beneath him. No joke, split. A crack opened in the dirt right under his sleeping bag, and something pulled him down. I grabbed his other arm, tried to yank him free, but it was like he weighed 1,000 pounds. Then I saw the face. Not Jake's. It's rising up from the crack in the dirt. There was a face that didn't belong to anything human. Its skin looked stretched like leather. No eyes, no nose, just a wide, smiling mouth full of small black teeth. It looked at me, then leaned toward Jake, and whispered something into his ear. Jake stopped fighting. His arm went limp in my hand. Then he was gone, pulled under the dirt, swallowed like he never existed. I ran, didn't grab my gear, didn't look back, just tore through the trees in the rain like a wild animal. My legs were bleeding from branches, my lungs burning. But I didn't stop. I didn't stop until I saw the truck headlights at dawn. I went back with police. They found the cabin, but not the carvings, not the crack in the floor, not Jake, not even his gear. They said maybe he wandered off, maybe he got lost in the storm. But I know better. I still hear scratching sometimes, under the floor of my apartment. I don't walk barefoot anymore, and I don't sleep past midnight. Not ever again.